Hello EGS user, and welcome back to the system for EGS, and we're covering Tessa V. Jones as her case on we're going from the step 1, step 2, and now we're going into the step 2 appeal to arbitration section. So we've entered the step 1 information, we've covered and entered the step 2 appeal information, and you've seen how to generate PDFs for each of those. Remember, when you enter any one of the meetings areas, you would click on Save to generate and view the PDF. So now we're going straight into the Step 2 appeal to arbitration. So if this is where you would take the case from here on out, let me decrease the screen size just a little bit for you. What you would do, of course, a lot of the information would be brought over for you, and you can go ahead and select the date. And then you can please check the sent by box. So there's very few levels of information you have to even record on this screen. So you can definitely select the sent by box, email, mail, or fax. Check if applicable to these disclaimer statements, and you can put in the National BA's address information, phone, or whatever you want in this box, and you can even sign it virtually by typing in your name. So this is where you would definitely enter the Step 2 information, Step 2 appeal to arbitration information, and click on Save. Once you click on Save, again, it generates a PDF, and let me show you what the PDF looks like. So you go to View PDF, you open the PDF, alright, and as you can see, it creates this nice form for you that's already in printable format. So it's a PDF form. It automatically generates for you, and you can print it out or email moving papers, which we'll show you in just a moment. So the next step would be moving on to the Step 3 appeal form, which is very similar. Okay, the Step 3 appeal form, again, you can select the date. The above grievance is being appealed to Step 3, and you would provide the date at which point that happens. And you could select the date from the drop-down menu or enter it manually. Again, you could select the check by sent box. You can enter this appeal in accordance with Article 15, Section 2. Basically, this is going to be the details of the grievance that will automatically be brought over for you. And here again, you have the ability to enter the National Business Agent information, which would be brought over for you as well if you had recorded that in the Step 2 appeal to arbitration. So if you save this screen, the Step 3 appeal, again, it creates the PDF, which you can view PDF as we've gone through, and you could see the PDF of this particular menu. Now, if you have an information request or a Joint Safety Committee information you need to fill out, we have those forms as well. So you have the Joint Safety Committee form, which you could actually enter the Joint Safety Committee information, the safety issue at hand. What was brought over for you would be the demographics again, the facility you could enter here, the tour you could enter. So safety issue, let's just say pay issue or a safety issue, whatever the case may be. USPS address, facility, let's just say Cookville, tour, you would enter your tour there, the tour relevant to this case, local district Joint Safety Committee chair, USPS address, state zip, sent via mail, fax, email, whatever the correspondence may be. And again, you could see that the information would be brought over, and you could type in the representative designated for this Joint Safety Committee information. You would click on Save. Again, it generates the PDF, which you can view PDF, and there you go. And then you may have an information request, okay? All this stuff is pretty easy. Basically, it's just filling out form, but if you need to send a request for information, well, then you can generate that form as well. And you put in the date of the request, just like your current forms, and you would select the date of the request, to whom the request was going. Okay, let's say this is going to John Smith, and he is the director, and it's from Justin Cecil, and let's just say I'm president or steward of one of the locals, local XYZ. Alright, and so actually local 77, which is our pilot local, so let's just go with that. Alright, and then you could request information here, and then once the information comes in, you could go back and check whether it was provided to you or not, yes or no. and you could just put need information on, and then you could select or request specific forms if you know what you need, things like that, and whether the request was approved or denied, and the date, and you could sign it. And so it's really a nice little request for information form. Once you click on save, by the way, you have your save functions at the top and at the bottom of each screen, so it makes it nice. If you're scrolling down or up, you don't have to scroll one way or the other. You have both saved information at all screens. So that generates the request for information form. You even have the extension request form. Okay, so the extension request, you could go into and file a request for an extension. Perhaps a meeting needs to be pushed back or anything like that, and then it is mutually agreed by the authorized parties below to extend the time limits for appeal of the above referenced grievance at step 1, step 2 appeal, step 2 appeal to arbitration, or the step 3 appeal. So you select the step that needs to be appealed, and what the original date was. Let's say it was set on the 8th, and we need to extend it to perhaps a week later on the 15th. And then you could type in the information for the union rep, management rep, and the dates, and click on save, and there you go. It would save that and generate a PDF. And then you have your corrections and additions form. Okay, the corrections and additions form, again, is a very simple form. It's more or less just a big white box where you would fill in the information needed. So you would fill in information here just like I'm doing, and you would click on save, and it would generate the PDF of that, and you could view PDF of the corrections and additions and send that as needed. Now what happened is it generated all these forms. You've gone through from step 1 all the way down through, and these below are more or less just kind of in and out. You won't necessarily use them all the time, but they're there, like information request. At any point in these processes you could go down and request information, things like that. But what it did, it generated all these PDF forms and the documents, the PDF documents attached to them, and it put them in our moving papers list. And so that's what we're going to get to next, is how to email moving papers and how to view documents and upload specific documents for each case. So thank you again, and we'll talk soon. Take care.